Hello, boobies.
I would just say build a better deck.
Oh, good for you.
Welcome to the CommanderSmiths.
We are the CommanderSmiths.
I'm Adam Smith.
And I'm Lowry Smith.
Don't worry.
We're cousins.
This is episode of 376. And what are we doing this episode, Lowry?
We're going to have a talk about proxies and mostly talking about the ones that we're using, but also just like kind of our rules. We're going through just ideas on them, and that's the main one.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's pretty much what we're gonna do for tonight. We have
and then we have the
tournament
round. Was this the Sweet 16?
This was the Sweet 16. So we are getting down to. Well, wait. No, this wasn't the. Yeah, this is okay. So we got the Elite 8 that is coming up next. So
yeah,
we'll hit that at the end. There is no Stump Dismiss Savant again tonight. Sorry, guys. This is gonna be a quicker one, I guess. I say that.
I don't think anybody's upset.
We're Minnesotans. We got our Timber Puppies playing right now, so we're gonna catch that hopefully the second half. I know you're probably not gonna watch it, Lowry. You're just gonna see what the score is maybe tomorrow. But so yeah, we're not doing Stump tonight. We'll probably be doing Final Fantasy stuff next week. So that's going to be those Commander decks just got
starting to get hot.
Yeah. So this is going to be pretty fun with that. That's going to be a long episode because we got a lot of new cards. I can't remember when we did the Fallout ones, when we did those decks, did we break down like every new card that was in that? I'll have to go back and check and see how we did that.
No idea.
No idea.
That was like 2 years ago.
No, that was last year. That was last year, not 2 years ago. You're silly.
Yeah,
it was last year. It was like a decade ago at this point.
It feels like a long time ago. How about that?
So basically, we've done proxy episodes before. We like to touch on them again here and there as we get new people on, and we'll talk about how we do it. But then we're gonna kind of give more of like when we do it, like which cards we particularly use. So we don't know each other's lists, so we like doing it. We've completely changed our styles. Like, if you guys go back to our early days of CommanderSmiths, Lowry and I would always put lists together. We would spend like 2 hours arguing over certain things to be in what list. And we're like, all right, I'll concede this card, but you got to let me have this card. And we'd spend like 3 hours. It was just ridiculous. So this is
too long.
This makes it so much easier for us because we're like, here's the topic, here's the outline. Boom, just do your thing.
Yeah.
So,
and this is a lot more comprehensive of a list because you should know most of these cards, I would say. And so we don't have to like break it down by any means.
Right.
Like it's just a big list. If it, Phase 5 is more like when we're talking about when, why, how, where.
Right.
I think this list should be a little snappier, but we'll break it down why and kind of talk about that.
We really won't do the card previews, I don't think, because we're going to be going through so many cards here. If there's a particular one, we'll jump over there. But Lowry, you broke it down how we were going to kind of do this, right? So we're going to basically talk about lands. Or do we want to do that when we get there?
We're going to go into our blueprint style.
Yeah.
And so we're going to, like you're saying, lands, draw, ramp, removal, protection, and just others, just to make it easy. But it's kind of the ramp and draw are the most important, along with lands. Let's be honest there.
Yeah, those are the
that's
ones
where a majority of my proxies come from.
Yep, lands for sure, biggest one there.
Yes.
We both struggled a little bit when we get to removal, but we'll get to that when we get there.
Well, and here's the thing, like since we're talking about lands right now, let's talk about the idea of why we proxies the lands. And this can apply to a lot of different reasons, but lands are the most important thing in your deck in the game, and they help you cast your spells. They help you cast it on time. They allow you to hit your colors properly, and having a good mana base is important. And if you have them, it sucks not to be able to play them in the decks that you want. Like, and the early on joke is I don't want to take my plateau out of this deck and switch it over to the other deck when I'm playing that one.
Right.
And not saying you have to have duels or whatever, but it's just kind of like, if you got them, play them, and then let's not have it be a pain in the ass to search through a bunch of cards to switch them over to make a deck better.
You don't want a 15-20 minute, hey, hang on, I got to remove all these cards from this deck and move it over to the other deck before I can start playing it. Like, that's the nice thing about the proxies is you just have it, you own the card, which, again, we have to go over that. When we talk about proxies, our proxy rule is you have to own the card. Once you own the card, boom, people that have listened to our cast or are part of the Discord know this. They've heard us say this so many times. If you're in our play group, this is how we do it. Like you have to own the card.
Right.
And once you own the card, you can proxy the crap out of it. And so that just makes it easier. And also it kind of makes it so if you're traveling or going somewhere that you leave your cards that they don't get, pickle juice on them, or somebody, Lowry got pickle juice spilled on his, or get stolen out of a vehicle. I haven't had cards stolen from me since I started Magic back in the 90s in elementary. Like, that got stolen out of my locker. But we don't have that worry, if you're going, you're going to somebody's house and
to a tournament or to LGS. Like, if you're exposing them to being stolen, like there's that chance. And so if you don't have them on hand and it's just a lot of proxies, it makes any sort of incidental less painful.
And I'll say this. I remember when I'd be like, you and I would be getting together like later that evening, whenever we're getting together, but I had to go into work. And I remember freaking out, being like, this is before he did proxies, like having my bag of like thousands and thousands of dollars of cards in it and being so nervous. I'm like, I can't hide this. You can't hide this fucking huge bag underneath the seat. So I just remember just being like, man, if somebody knows that this is here, they just break in and they, and it always made me nervous. I have not had that feeling since we started the proxy stuff.
Right.
I don't get that. The most expensive things in my decks are basic lands, full art basic lands, or the commander. A lot of times I do pimp out the commander, and that I'll keep as the real thing. Everything else I kind of, proxy out.
And I think that's a really good point. Like, for the discussion today, we're not just going to list off expensive cards, because if you have an expensive card that you don't play a ton of, we'd still suggest getting some sort of proxy to protect it and save it and stuff like that. But that's not really what we're aiming for. We're aiming for something that, like, more of like, you're going to use this in a bunch of decks. And so even though I've used duels as an example, they're both. Right. It's, if you got them, you want them in every deck that they can go into. And they also don't they don't break the game. There are cards that do that. And we'll kind of probably talk about that a little bit more differently as well. But when you have an expensive card, protect it, and we highly suggest proxying it. And so we should make that the new standard to proxy.
Yeah, I mean, it is becoming more and more acceptable at this point. Parks is saying,
right.
When you were making that point there, here's a good example. So, also, if people don't know this, which you probably do, I make proxies for, we make proxies, and, we have over 400 proxies that we have made so far. I don't normally make a proxy that is like a card that we don't ever use. Sometimes I will, but a lot of times it's like, I'm just going to go to Google or go to Scryfall and print off the card that I want, because this card doesn't get used very often. So normally when I make the proxies, it's of cards that people are using all the time. And so that's kind of a good example of that, is like, maybe I might, make a proxy of something that's, used in one of my decks, but I won't design one. I'll just print it off myself. So that's kind of what you were hitting at with proxying, just expensive cards. We're not just going to hit the expensive list. So we're going to talk about all the cards that we actually use. So,
right. And like, as we started out saying that lands are probably the most important, you're going to use them all the time. Every time you make a new deck, you're going to be wanting to use the best lands that you can. And then I would also put artifacts within that category of artifacts can go in any deck that you have going on. There are some cards that you don't need to proxy, like a Soul Ring, because there was a bajillion of them out there.
Right.
There are plenty of artifacts that you use or could use in a lot of your decks. And so one of the things, let's talk about a downside of proxying a little bit here, is you could overuse a card.
Yep.
And we don't need to talk about broken cards right now, but you can just let's just talk about something that's used all the time, Lightning Greaves, and that's on my list. But Lightning Greaves is something that you can use all the time, and if you want variety in a deck, proxies don't necessarily help that out.
Yeah.
What proxying does is it allows you to play with what you want when you want, but you do need to be careful on overusing cards like that are just universal, if that's something that you care about. You know what I mean? Not everybody cares about that, and some people do. And so if you want something different, I would more just suggest then proxy your expensive cards. Try not to do so. Example on the thumbnail would be like Sensei's Divining Top. I have no problem putting that in just about every deck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not something, to me, that's a kind of card that allows me to do what I want to do within a deck.
It makes it more
consistent. It's not something that's making a deck feel the same to X, Y, and Z decks. And so that is where proxying a card for me is important, when it allows me to get what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
It's good in a it's very workable in a Cascade deck, right? But also it's just nice in an artifact deck. It's nice in a white deck or a mono red deck that allows you to, like, when it's behind compared to like a mono blue deck. And so a card like that can be so universal, I don't have a problem with it. And if you get good at a card like that, other people don't have a problem with it either. Also, that's why we don't tutor, we don't combo. Like, tutoring also makes it so that games feel very similar and stuff like that. So
I would just say build a better deck.
That's your key right there.
Too.
Yeah.
I've been making worse decks lately. Thank you very much.
We got a Team Forest Walk and an Urza's for life, so I got to do both of them. So it's
Get the fuck.
That one's for you, Chris, and this one's for Tad in the beginning.
Get the fuck out. Oh, hashtag Team Forest Walk. Shit.
Yeah,
sorry, Chris.
That's why I gave you.
I was monologuing and I was not reading. I apologize.
But yeah, okay. So let's really quick do the tags, because we're kind of already in the middle.
Oh, we're
of this.
into it.
Yeah. So let me get the tags going, because we did get 2 new patrons. So I do want to give the shout outs there. So 2 new patrons, Matthew Hopkins and Nathaniel Anderson.
Welcome to a meat forest.
That sounds like a fairy tale of a meat forest.
I love that. Thank you guys for becoming a patron. That means a lot. That's how we keep this show going with everything. Everything you guys give us or put towards the show goes right back into the show. If you want to become a patron, $1 gets you into the Discord, gets you chatting with us and everything like that. If you want to go higher on the tiers, you can get our proxies that we're talking about. Proxies, speaking of proxies, this was last month's or this month's. It is Enduring Vitality of that little deer there. So that's a foil one. So the higher you move on there, you can get those each month. So it's kind of a little patron perk that we give you guys each month for becoming a patron. So you get a little something, a little bonus if you move up on there. But we're not on the socials anymore. We got off of Twitter, X, whatever. So really, Discord is our social. So if you want to chat with us, I mean, we shouldn't make it so it's like that's the only way you can talk to us. You can talk to us on YouTube right now, like you're talking here. Any messages we try to answer on there, you can email us at CommanderSmiths@gmail.com. But if you want to have a back and forth, join the Discord. It's $1 at the very least. And like I said, everything goes back into the show. Another way, we do have that raffle going over, finger. Let's see. Nope, that way. There we go. Finger there. Do we have that raffle going with the foil etched shocks that are the enemy fetches right here? I got the Marsh Flats there. So I got all 5 of them. We are over the halfway mark. So once we hit that 150, we will.
That is over the halfway
Yeah,
mark.
that is over the. And one Anderson $5 drop there. But once we hit that 150, every dollar that you guys put towards that, you can only do that during the live show. Every dollar enters you in to try to win that. So if you put $5 in, you get 5 entries in there. We'll spin the wheel, and whatever it lands on, that person wins it all. And we also take a Malort shot when we hit that $150 mark. So that is another way to support us. The other way you can support us is we have these cool mugs. You can check out our store, which is actually on my eBay page, which is actually linked below. Larry has the red one. That is the one that is actually up for sale there. And we have some metal tokens and all that fun stuff there as well. I believe that's it. If you've clicked this video to watch it, why not click it to give it a like? And if you're not subscribed yet, do that as well. So that is the free way to support us. And I think that'll do it. If you guys, like I mentioned before, you need to get in contact with us, CommanderSmiths@gmail.com. That's it, I think. Yeah, we'll just move on back into it. Okay, so proxies. I do want to touch on my rule of thumb typically for proxies is when a card gets, if it's a highly used card and once it hits that over $5 mark. So what you were saying with Lightning Greaves, that's a good example because Lightning Greaves does tend to get, it gets printed in a lot of precons. It gets printed a lot. The price comes down, but it never really gets below $5, and it always keeps going back. It fluctuates between like $5 and like $8 or $9. But the problem is I have like a shit ton of them because it's in so many products. So that is actually one that I don't proxy because I have so many. I should just give myself this.
So, and this is
good
for you. Yeah, that's a good point. And that is where I would disagree with you. I would go the opposite direction. It's something that's being printed constantly. It's a high value, high print run card. And so I would want to proxy something like that. And I generally do and
get rid of
so
the
that I
all
can
but
get
one.
the value out of all of those different printings. So when I get another one of them, I just go, all right, get rid of it. Give me another $4.
I agree, but what happened was the flip coin deck, commander deck, it came with foil ones of those. So I got 10 of those. So I have, and I don't put it in every single deck. I told you I've been moving away from that, from using Lightning Greaves as much.
Yeah.
And so I got rid of, I think it was like 20 or 30 Lightning Greaves that were just regular. But like you said, that was the smart way to do it because I got like $8 per card there. That was a couple $100 just to get rid of those, off my books. Cause that is a perfect example, yes, of one that you should just have. If you find a good proxy of it, get rid of all of them but the one, and you're going to keep getting them. It's basically a free $8 right there. So yes, it is a good example. I just kept the foil ones because I was like,
fair.
I got them. I want to keep it. So I got a stack of that. So
also, like, people that like the different arts, I'm not going to blame you for holding on to different arts or just whatever your deal is. That's cool. But again, like for me, I'm trying to get value. Like the game's expensive. So I'm trying to not hold on to a lot of different value. I'd rather just get rid of it. Keep the one cool one.
Yeah.
That's the other reason. The other thing that we do is when you're proxying, and that allows you to get the cool version.
Right.
So like you get, instead of trying to decide if you want 2 or 3 of one, if, I got to spend $30 on this card and get 3 of them, or you could pay 15 and get the coolest version of it, save yourself $15 and make a couple of proxies.
Exactly. And that we've talked about that before is once we decided to do that, it's changed my way of collecting. I've turned into, we build the decks obviously, but now it's almost like I've become a collector because now I'm like, okay, well now I know I'm going to proxy the crap out of this. I want the best version of this card. So it's turned it into, I want the coolest version of that. And then I can, I'm spending a little bit more, but I now no longer need that card. If I get extra copies, I am sending those in. for money or selling them on eBay. Just
Right.
depends on that. So yeah,
Or if they get a secret layer printing,
Right.
you're just like, okay, this regular version just
Right.
gets added into the trade or the
Dude.
sales. I'm getting this version that I like.
that happens every secret layer that comes out. I get the
Except for
cards.
this one.
Well, yeah, I get the cards, and then I go to my binder that the cards are the ones that are expensive are already in there, and I pull out the ones that are just regular. And
Right.
you know, I just recently in the last couple months got rid of my regular Teferi's protection. I don't know why I held on to it because I had the original Commander one, you know, from what 20 what was it?
16?
20, yeah, something like that. So I
Yeah.
had that. I was like, oh, well, it's the first one. I was like, man, they have so many better versions of it now. I was like, all right, we don't need this. That's $40 I can just have in my pocket.
Right.
So
Right,
yeah.
exactly.
One thing I thought of as we were talking here, and I think this is becoming more of a thing because of secret layers and people doing more proxies and all that stuff, is there's also like a theme thing. Like proxies allow you to, like, let's say you wanted to, there's so many sites that allow you to do this, but you want to do a theme deck that has all cats. Well, you won't necessarily have that with every card, but with proxies, you can. Like, you can find versions or make them. Sure. I shouldn't say with, not everybody's familiar with like Photoshop stuff, but there are sites that allow you to design, you know, use AI art and design your own cards. So I think that's becoming more of a thing as everybody likes to theme their decks, but now it's becoming more, I think, accepted. And so I think that's becoming more of a thing. I haven't done that really I do that with my lands. I try to get my lands to match the idea of the deck if I can. You know, I'm like, ooh,
Sure.
This deck is a dinosaur deck. Obviously, I'm going to use dinosaur lands. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I try to get a feel. But anyways, getting away from proxies there. All right. What else do you want to talk about before we get into the list stuff of all that?
I mean, other ideas might come up as we're talking about
That's a good
different
point.
cards. So
Do we want to mention?
I didn't make notes of that. I just made a list of cards and proxies that I use. And I guess here's the other thing, just perspective wise, like we have a pretty extensive list here. I have 20 decks. Adam has fucking how many decks? Like 30. You never kill anything.
Yeah, I brought 20 when we did the guys weekend. Then so I probably have about 30. I think because I left.
So
about
between
10
us, we're talking about 40, 50 decks, easy. So that's the perspective of that's why there's crossover. Oh, here's one of them where normally if I'm proxying, if it is a land or an artifact, I'll generally go with.
Oh, what the hell?
Oh, anonymous.
Oh, we're $10 away. Who's anonymous? I need to know.
Yeah, we don't. You got to win something.
Well, anonymous. Well, I'll actually be able to find out.
We should be able to see that.
Yeah, I'll be able to see on the PayPal part.
But basically, if it's a land or an artifact, I start with roughly 4 to 5, like proxies of it. If it's monocolored, I'll start with 3 to 4. And if it's multicolored, I start with like 2-ish, because you're just less likely to have multicolored cards being used in multiple decks.
Mm-hmm.
So like Deathrite Shaman is a bad example. Like you're going to use that in a lot of green-black decks just because of the utility and the ramp that universally comes with it. But something like a Lightning Helix works in a burn deck, and like a burn life gain deck. And then it's just, you know, like unless you really like the card, also not within the price range of what we're talking about by any means. But when you just, you know, if it's 3 colors, you likely only have 2 3-color decks of the same color at the same time.
Yeah.
Like you're just not going to have more than 2. And I would advise that same thing on if you don't buy multiples of a 3-colored card, even if it's expensive. 1. You only need 1 if you're playing Commander.
Yeah.
Nice.
What's up, Scott?
So that would be my advice right out the bat. Like, how many proxies do you need? Start with that and go from there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so the more you get, the more you tend to use it as well, if it's really good. Looking at me with Smothering Tithe, like I started out with like 4. Oh my God, I guess this deck needs it. And like, whenever I make proxies for our patrons, like I'll print out another one. And like snip, snip, snip. I don't ask you. You're like, you haven't asked me for
Smothering Tithe in a long time.
10 years. But yeah, I just cheat and just do it again. And like, so that's where that's at. So I try and start small so that my things don't feel
we hit it.
the same.
We hit it, Larry. I need to know what anonymous is. Well, actually, I can do this because you aren't seeing my preview.
No. Okay, we hit it.
Yeah,
We hit it.
That means we're gonna be taking
Are
a
we doing
shot
that
here.
tonight?
Yeah, I guess so. Token, Joker, 10. All right. You're gonna have to give me a second when we get to
I'll
that
let you
point.
go get a second. It's just gonna be dead air time here. I am
don't-
not editing
oh.
this out of the audio. I'm gonna go get a beer
Oh, yeah, I guess.
and I guess my Malort.
Yeah, you're gonna need to get that and a shot glass because I don't have my shot
I
glass
always
either.
have it up there. I never
Oh.
clean it. It's,
Oh, gross! So you're
Put it by
taking
Malort.
you're taking like dust shots. Oh, that's good. Okay, so what Lowry was saying, I'm going to kind of piggyback on that a little bit. So I'm anonymous. Oh, okay, Dan. I don't know why I didn't. Okay, cool. I'll get you Dan on there. When Lowry gets back, I'm going to have to get your guys' names put in. He'll have to tap dance a little bit. So, okay, I already mentioned $5 or more is normally when I start doing the proxies. I want to talk when Lowry's here. I want to hit this part. Oh, he's back. Okay. So, a lot of times when I proxy stuff, Lowry, get those headphones on so I can say this part. So, what I was going to say here, Lowry, is if a new card comes out that I know that is good and that will go in a ton of decks, I will. But for example, and this is going to be one of the cards on the list. Which one is it? It is.
I have a feeling I know what you're gonna say.
Trouble in Pairs is the one that I went crazy with.
That's not even new anymore. That's a year old.
Right. But what I'm saying as an example is when that came out and I made the proxy, like the Legolas and Gimli one, I made it for every single white deck that I had because I was like, this is a great
This
card.
is going in there.
Yeah, it's going in every single one of these decks. I had to find a spot for it. I would say 90% of those decks got it in there. Not every one of them worked out. I was like, I think this deck's fine where it's at. I don't need to have that in there. But that one I just loved so much, I put it in almost every single deck.
Sure.
So
the one that I thought you were gonna say, and I think we both get excited when it gets brought up, and I think it's on my list, but Glittering Skitter Spike.
it's on mine. Yeah.
Just like you get one, and I'm like, I want like 3-4
Yeah.
copies of this. I want to fit it into whatever deck. And that's another thing too, is you get to test it out more quickly that way as well. You're more likely to see new cards,
And then
especially when they're not almost game changers like Trouble in Pairs. Like everybody knew that one was good. But Skitter Spike, God, that thing
so
just
cool.
it seems so fun.
Yeah.
When I've seen you play it, it's just like it's good.
Yeah.
It's
So
really good.
that one had to get up. Yep. And that one went in. I mean, that one I didn't go and like shove it in a bunch of decks. It has to make sense. But the decks that went in all made sense, you know, like, I mean, it's a fantastic card. I mean, it makes what? Okay. All right. So what I need to do here, I got to do a
Do you
couple
want me to
things.
start a list and then let you put names and numbers and stuff?
Yeah, I'm going to need to do this here. Let's see. I have my spin the wheel. Where is it? Where's my spin the wheel?
Well, we need that. You need a bottle?
No, I just,
All right.
wait, I put it on this one. That's right. I had it on a different.
All right. So I'm cracking open. I shouldn't be, but I'm going to crack open a Modest Brewing Company, Dream Yard Hazy IPA, a gift from Alex for my birthday. I appreciate you. I do like this one quite a bit. So that's what I'm going to be drinking tonight, and along with the Malort.
I have the coffee cake that Ryan W. when he came to Guys Week in the blonde ale.
That's very good.
Yeah, I like.
You're
this one.
supposed to be writing stuff down.
I
though.
know. Hang on a second.
Stop dilly dallying.
I gotta double check and make sure. I believe you, Dan Hunt. I just gotta make sure because if I were on there, I would say, yeah, that $60 was me. I wouldn't do that, but you know what I'm saying. Like, I just want to make sure that I'm not screwing somebody else over. So I gotta check.
Right. We'll be able to figure out. Joel. Yeah. Free pencil. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Nobody acknowledged my joke in the Discord though. Chris did. Chris saw it. I appreciate you, Chris. But I said I hope they're
LO'd it.
numbered up to number 2 at least.
Yeah.
Because number 2 pencil. God,
I got
that was a banger joke,
banger joke.
and only Chris appreciates me.
All right,
gotta
hang
say
on.
that.
Here we go. Let's see. Yep, it is Dan. Dan, I just had to double check. It's not that I didn't believe you. I just had to double check on it. So, Dan,
Well, I think we just outed him as anonymous.
Yeah.
So sorry, Dan.
All
You're in
right, so
trouble.
we got that. So now I need to get this wheel started here. So Lowry, why don't you kick us off with? Do we want to start talking about the lands and then just kind of go from there? Does that sound like?
Are you just writing stuff on?
Yeah, I'm
In
gonna.
and out and all over the place. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be pretty universal. You can add anything that you want, Adam.
Yeah.
But I would not put Urza Saga on this list. I know Adam did, so I just put it on my list. It's a bad card.
Oh,
Bad person.
get
bad people
out of
play
here!
it.
It's of course on my list. It has
It's a
to be.
hashtag poopy Urza Saga walk.
Hey, but see, I'm not douchebaggy enough that I also put Yavimaya on here. So
Yeah.
because I use them both, they get used quite a bit. So they're both on my list. You little bastard.
It's on my list.
It is. Yeah, I was gonna say, how did
Yeah.
you not have that on there?
So, but actually, Yavimaya and Urborg, same card in my mind. They have a little bit differences, but they help fixing.
Yeah.
Um,
It's funny
You
is I
have
use
fetches,
Yav way more than I use Urborg, which I don't understand why, but I guess
interesting.
I play a lot more green.
Have you made a proxy of Urborg?
No, that's
'Cause
why
I think
know.
all mine are super old.
Yeah,
That's probably
no, that's
the
why I
deal.
just realized it
Yeah.
with the which deck is my my Felithar is black, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I had to do it there, and I was like, this is weird. I don't have a proxy of Urborg. I was like, I'm pretty sure I made a Lord of the Rings one. But yeah, proxy the fuck out of Urza's. Urza's goes in everything. It's in my new Alesha deck.
I do think I have it in like 3 or 4 decks. So that is, I'm impressed for a card that's so bad. It's made it into enough. No, actually, do you know what I don't like about Urza Saga is that it does count as a tutor within the Moxfield tutor.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Spot.
It's stupid.
So no, it is a tutor. It's cheating. I
No,
don't
it's
like it.
not.
Okay, so you have fetches, which we always talk about getting. They're the best lands in the game. Shock lands are important. We're huge into the surveil lands.
Yes, the
they're a
surveil.
ton
So
of fun.
what I wanted to make a point with the surveil lands is that's a great example. There is we knew that we love the scry lands, but those weren't fetchable. So when the surveil lands came out, we were all about that, and it was like, okay, I need to make proxies as soon as possible for this because they're going in every single deck, and they do. I use those more than I use shocks. Not saying I use them more, like they're both in the decks the same. So I have my shocks and my surveil are in the same deck, but my first, second, third turn is normally to go get a surveil land if I don't have a play.
Agreed.
And I very rarely is it a shock because I also have the dual land. So if I need something to come in on play or play untapped, I'm going for the dual land. If I need it tapped or I don't care about it, it's surveil. And then if it's a 3 color or more, then sometimes there's a triumph. But even that, I've been a lot of times going for the surveil just because it feels like you're getting a little bit of an advantage. It's like a half draw in a way. I still feel like it's a half draw. You made that point that scry lands were kind of like half drawing. I feel like that's the same for surveil lands, except a little better.
Yeah.
So, anyways, keep going.
And I'm going to make a point about
10,
surveil
20.
lands being standard cards. Generally, not including surveil lands because they are played a shit ton in our format. But if you end up getting like an expensive standard card, understand, don't get a bunch of them. Get the one. If you're running our rules, get the one. Get some proxies of it so you can play it wherever you want, and then trade off any extras. Don't buy extras in standard if you're not playing standard.
Yeah.
Get your value out of them because when they rotate, sometimes they drop. It's happening less now that standard isn't as big of a money pusher, but the market seems to be slowly coming back to pre-COVID kind of what's happening. Like commander cards that are newly printed are now starting to move things within their range. Within the last 5 years, it was a lot rarer for that to happen. Like the spikes are more common like they used to be pre-COVID versus what they have been the last 5 years. So it's kind of going back to a normal market to what it was going. But surveil lands don't count. Other standard cards do, especially if it's not a land. So shocks are in there, surveils, duels. If you got them, understand that most people don't have them.
Right.
Do you think duels should be something that you reserve for like your higher powered decks, or do you think that they really are more of just a status spot for people that don't have them? Like there's hatred towards the part of not having it.
Do Do you think there is a hatred?
I think they're powerful, but I don't think they're like a guy's cradle powerful.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, I don't.
They're good.
Yeah. I mean, because
they're the best fetchable lands,
Right.
probably. But like, I feel better when I fetch a surveil land in the first couple turns.
Right. I don't hit the duels like normally.
So,
Dual lands don't come in unless I need to play that first turn.
Right.
That I get it. But no, I don't think, because we have options now. I think because of the surveil lands, we have multiple options, and that's what I don't want to get into. I was gonna say, we were talking on the Discord about that card that was revealed today. I was like, I don't have a spot for that one that's like City of Brass, but
right, that comes in a play tap.
Yeah, it's just like I don't have a spot for that, because in my 3 to 5 color decks, I have my spots. Like, it's like dual lands, shock lands, surveil lands, triomes, fetches, and then I need to figure out a handful and a half of utility lands that I'm using. So I don't have a spot for that. So
if you're not using City of Brass on the regular, like, you're not going to be using that.
Right, exactly. So
I have one deck that'll with my damage myself.
Right, that makes a lot of sense.
Like that card. That's
fantastic.
The only deck I'll play it for sure.
But yeah,
and so like I think so. Getting back to duels, for me, I don't think they're powerful enough to feel bad about like going and fetching for them. They are better than most lands, but I don't think it's like a game-changing thing. Whereas I think it's more just a money disparity thing, which kind of sucks. And you wanna watch who you're playing with. If you're around a lot of people that are a lot more casual than you, you're probably gonna want to drop them from your decks just so that it doesn't. I've fetched into a duel and somebody goes, "Oh, we're playing that kind of game," and I'm just like, yeah, I guess.
I totally missed
I think I still lost. I don't know. I lose all the time. I just assume I lose. So.
I missed RoboCop's comment because I was putting all the names together. So I have to make. He said for Urza's Saga, it's like the Frank's Red Hot of Magic. That's fantastic. I
agree. I don't like Louisiana Cajun sauce. It's not. I don't like Frank's Red either.
Oh, come on.
Overrated.
Cindy's gonna fight you now. That's like her favorite.
That's okay.
She puts it on
That's
everything.
okay. She hasn't been mad at me in years at this point. You got to have it happen every once in a while. So okay, duels, and tri-lands. Those are probably the cycles, the quick one. And really, tri-lands, you get 2 or 3 of them if you're really into 3-colored decks. Yeah. I am. So I need like 3.
Can I hit it?
Really?
Oh, good
only need like
for
1 or 2.
you.
Yeah.
And then some of the off cycle ones, I do Prismatic Vista.
Yeah.
Which is
I do sometimes. I do that sometimes, but I go for the off whatever. But yeah, Prismatic Vista.
That's in one of my land slots. I use that in every 2. I used to use it in every 3-color one, but I'm lowering it down to 2. My 2-color decks. But that's a fucking $30 basic land fetch.
Right.
Proxy the fuck out of that. You know what I mean?
Can I throw out a couple now that I'm caught up?
Yeah.
Plaza of Heroes is one that I always forget.
Just saying it. Yep.
Did you say it already?
Or I was just about to say it.
Okay, so like I always I get the deck ready and then I'm like, going through. I'm like, okay, I go through my proxy list, my sheets, and I'm like, why the fuck did I forget Plaza of Heroes? Like that needs to go in almost every single deck because it's a pseudo saving your commander.
And I'm gonna tip my hat to you a little bit here, but I love the proxies that you have of the X-Men and
the Lord of the Rings.
Both of them, fantastic.
Thank you, sir. And then Beseju and Otwara are the 2 other ones that I go. If I have a blue deck, Otwara's in there. If there's a green deck, Beseju needs to be in there. Like, there's no downfall with those two cards. The other ones of that cycle, white. I don't.
It's like a $4 or $5 card.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, and I don't.
So it doesn't. You don't.
I didn't even make a proxy of that one. Even the deck I'm building now. I kicked it out because I was like, I'd rather have a basic here because I'm getting lower on the basics. But Otwara goes in every single time. The red one I don't like. The black one sometimes works. But that's what I'm saying is like
$3 card.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what it's like. These 2 stand out because they're just so much better. Like there's Beseju's way up here, Otwara's down here, but Otwara is still a great card, Right. So those are the ones out of the ones you've already talked about, the other ones. So whatever other ones you wanted to add on.
I just have one more that I would add, and it's a game changer, Ancient Tomb.
Yeah, I thought about that one too. I've been putting that in more because we lost we lost our dockside, we lost our monocrypt and all that stuff. So that one's kind of been my replacement. So I agree.
And so that to me, that one goes in every 1 and 2 color deck that I have. So that is just one of the land slots that goes in there. I don't put it in my 3 color very often, but
I
it's
gotta
a great ramp card.
I gotta go get my shot class. That was it for the lands. And then do we? Yeah. Can you tap dance for like 30 seconds? Tap dance.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, lands are really important to be having within your deck. Make sure that you have a good mana base. That is a very strong paramount part of building a good solid deck. Because again, for us, at least for me, I want to do an idea. I don't want to putz around with my lands. Like part of the lands, if you can get lands that do the thing that you're doing, like if you're in a life gain deck, that's cool playing tap lands that are going to gain you life. Great. That's in theme. But really what the lands are meant to do is to get you to do the thing that you want to do. So for me, I don't like to putz around with different land bases. I know what I like. I know how it feels. And I go that route. And so that's why lands are super important. And that's why I like proxying them probably the most.
Yep. I think that's, yeah, by far.
You didn't even listen.
Well, no, it is by far the most out of this list. The things that I proxy the most, like it is by far the most. All right, let's move over here really quick. We're going to do a little, make sure I got so people can see that. Oh, it's pretty small. Okay. So you guys can see here is all our entries here. So Token Joker, he has 10 entries there. Anonymous, which is actually Dan Hunt, which I have him on here.
Okay.
There's a bunch of Tad. There's a bunch of Dan. Tad had 75 in there. Dan had 60. Anderson had 5, and Token Joker. So how we're going to do this is I am going to, let me go up to the top here. I'm going to shuffle this list 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. As you can see, everything moved here. Then what we're going to do is we're going to spin it 3 times. So I will get rid of the list. I'm going to enlarge this so you guys can see it a little better. Let me raise it up a little bit here. Why is my, come here, move down. Oh, I know, gotta do that. Okay, so now you can see it pretty centered. So I'm gonna do this 3 times. So the first 2 are not winners. It's just gonna make you feel bad that you didn't get it. So
that's the goal of our podcast. Make you feel bad.
All right, so here goes the first one. This is not the winner, it's just to make you feel bad.
Ooh, and then we get to see what's going on.
So Dan would have been a winner.
It could be your digestive system. All right, Dan Hunt would have won if this was the right one.
We're not removing him.
Test run.
Here goes the second one.
Second one does not count.
Oh, it would have been Dan again. Wait, no. Oh, it's a Tad.
All right.
Okay, all right.
Now, this is the real one.
This is the real one. Here we go, guys. Here we go. This is for all these fetches here. Good luck. Good luck.
Let's hope somebody wins.
Let's hope.
Oh, I'm pulling for anybody.
It's Dan. Dan. I thought Tad's luck was gonna get it there.
It just went right over the line, Wheel of Fortune style. Dan Hunt.
So
wow,
Dan, you congratulations, buddy. You win the foil etched fetches there. Since we're talking about lands, kind of a good time to do this. Yeah, so I'll get those out for you. Congrats. Thank you guys for donating or trying to win that. We'll get those out. We'll have another one. We're going to put up a voting. This is part of what the perks of being a patron is. You know, we had the voting between the Yavimaya, the different Yavimayas, and the fetches. We'll have another voting for the Discord to decide what the next raffle will be, and we'll be putting that up. So, all right, let's get back to what we were talking about. Let me get out of there. All right, so what is next on our list that we want to
We
get
got a
to?
Malort shot.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
That's next on the list. So this is This is the other part of the entertainment for the night.
I wasn't expecting to take a Malort shot tonight.
Attaboy. There we go.
And I got the barrel aged Malort. Did you see my post on Discord about John Oliver taking a Malort shot last night on his show on Last Week Tonight?
You know what? I just saw the picture. I did not click on whatever link. So he took a shot, huh?
He took a shot, yeah. Because what they were,
how did he deal with it?
just like you would think. Everybody, it's disgusting. But no, he was, what the whole news thing was talking about, the Pope being from Chicago, and then he brought up Malort, and then at the end of the show, he's like, cheers, and then he's just like, oh, this is awful. All right, Larry, you got yours all poured up?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, I do.
Congrats, Dan. Thank you guys all for donating and all that stuff. All right, here we go. God damn it. Okay. Woo. I got goosebumps.
Yep. Ugh. That's so gross.
That reminds me of Guys Weekend.
I didn't take one then.
Yeah, I know. I did. That just brings back the ugh. All right. So now the next thing.
It's like oxygen hurts it. Like makes it way worse. Do you think it's like spicy food where we should like drink milk or have like bread or something?
No, remember
milk
everything that we
terrible.
Yeah,
milk was a bad choice.
I still have my every time we take this, I'm going to show it off. Let's see if there's anything different with it. There's that Malort induced spam.
Yep.
And look at the gross stuff that's on the top there. It's disgusting. Something's growing on there. It's gonna come alive at some point. I promise.
Is that like, are we at a year at this point? No, that was like last summer. Right?
Yeah, no, it was. That was by far the hardest thing that I've ever had to do on this show. Like I was struggling, and I know you put it down. You did it like a champ, but that texture, and then we both didn't feel good after that. Or I remember we got the stomach issues the next day. It was not good. To the Pope, yes, I like Joe Mage's. All right, so okay, let's move on to the next thing here. So we talked about lands, kind of a similar line of things. We're going to talk about ramp, right? So, what
in order?
What are some ramp stuff that you like to proxy? We can go back and forth with this if you want.
Okay, we can. We're all caught up at this point.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just gonna go down my list. I'm not gonna. Okay. I know this isn't like the hardcore ones.
Not a drafting.
But Battle Angels of Tyr.
Oh, that's a good one.
Is one that I do.
You've been putting
just because it's one of those perfect like catch-up cards where it's not a dead card with the Myriad. It's just a banger. And then if you're behind, you get all those bonuses versus like a lot of cards. Ugh, you gotta like it. I'm dying here. A lot of them are like at one certain point where if you're behind, they're really good, but otherwise they're just bad cards. Towards like Battle Angels of Tyr, when they deal damage, if you're behind, you get a treasure token. Cool.
Yeah,
I fucking love that. Along with the draw and along with the life game, but I put it under ramp for me because generally that's what I'm looking for in a white deck anyway.
Yep.
So
I think it's a good one. I need to add that more. It's only in my Myriad deck, but I like that.
Yeah, I have it in about 3-4 decks now. So
yeah. And we got
I've been able to play it.
We got a proxy of that one too, just so you guys know.
Yes.
A lot of pretty much every single thing that we mentioned here. I'm looking at my list. Well, that's how I found all my cards. Is I went to the proxy list. So these are all proxies that we make. So
some of mine probably come from before you making proxies, but for the most part,
I'm hitting 2 just because they're the same. But Birds of Paradise and Delighted Halfling go in a crap ton of my decks. So it's self-explanatory. 1-drop mono rock or mono dork. They're both good. So
I'll add Deathrite Shaman into that mix as well. Yeah, just like right there. 1 mana drop. And so then I'll add in 2 really cheap ones that I use a lot of is Mox Opal and Mox Amber. They're cheap, and I have a lot of artifact decks at this point, so I'm playing Mox Opal like 4 decks right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so like my equipment deck, a Layla, and a couple others. So, but like it's really good. Mox Amber being like tapping for any color when you got a cheap legend as your commander is quite good.
Yep. Dig that. Dryad of the Elysian Grove I end up putting in a lot of decks. Because
yep, and I'm short on that right now, so I didn't put it on my list, but I agree.
we used to use a lot, but then I think I kept using it when you were already bored of it. But I played what is it? Oracle Moldiah was what I used to use, and that has now been replaced basically with Dryad of the Elysian Grove. I don't use Oracle anymore at this point because I don't want people to see what's going. So
right, that's such a drawback for over a long period of a game.
You have to show the top. All right, fine.
I'm gonna double up again here and say Burgeoning and Exploration.
Okay,
they're both cards that
you're hitting things that aren't even
on
my list, so that works out good.
Yeah, but they're just allowing your green decks to put more land into play. They're 1-drops, and they can be huge boons to your game. That's just I consider them in a lot of my decks for sure. I don't have a Burgeoning proxy, and I need
have
more
that
explorations from you. How about that?
You have one. I made okay. I made them both, right? Yeah, I have them both. Proxies.
Yes, Burgeoning's relatively
newer. Yep, I did that one recently. I have Fable of the Mirror Breaker as one when I'm in my red decks. I like to put
put that in my other, but I agree. Yep, that is much more of a
because I've been making.
I like
treasure.
that one too. It's so fun.
Yeah, I like that.
It's not. It's God. It's such a great card. So this might be turning into a little bit of me of just like vouching for cards as well, just like how good they are, but not game breaking. I love it because it's not crazy in any part, but it's quite good in everything.
Yeah.
I agree.
What are you doing?
Team Force
Get the hell out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
It's fine. He is right. We should
He's getting this.
Commend him. He's doing great.
The fuck out!
Stupid Forest Walk decks. But yeah, no. The cool thing about that is you create that, especially if you get it out early game, you get a goblin, whatever, you're getting treasures off of it. You can do multiples. It's nice. But the thing is like it's a card thing as well. You get to drop cards, discard things that you don't want. And then it eventually flips over to a dude that makes other dudes. So it has 3 things to it. But the main thing I use it for is my treasure, making more, ramping myself up. So I really like that one.
Honestly, it works so well for you always. Like there's always somebody
that's open.
A little bit,
yeah, exactly.
And then you could just attack that person for 2-3 tokens. You're just like, how do you do that? Always. So I'm jealous. How about that? One, I'm gonna double up again. Because my list is
yours
big. It's a huge list.
Oh, good for you.
Good for you.
Sword of Feast and Famine.
I was wondering if
Hearth and Home.
I was wondering. I didn't put any of the swords on there, but they could have fit in a lot of spots. But
I love those too. And I've been in love with Feast and Famine for I swear a decade at this point. I have never gotten tired of it. In Hearth and Home with the blank and go get a basic land. It's there's enough ETB effects that it's just going to be, going to randomly be good in that regard in a lot of decks.
Yep. I'm still doing my one at a time. So I'll do Black Market Connections, any black deck that just fits in there. I'm glad that we're getting another reprint of that in this Commander deck. Actually, the Secret Lair has Black Market Connections in it.
Nice.
So it's good that we're getting more out there because it's just a good card. When I play it, yes, you're losing a lot of life, but at the same point, like, it doesn't feel broken because you lose 6 life. Like if you do all 3 of them, most of the time you do the first 2. Like that's most of the time, unless you're like a tribal deck, then you're like, I want that creature because it works with my deck, which that's normally a lot of times what happens. But that's a lot of life you're losing. So it doesn't feel like you're being very unfair with it, but it does give you a good advantage. You get that treasure for 1 life, a draw for 2. Hell yeah. I do that every turn. Take 3 life and get both of those. That's a win-win right there, and it's a 3-drop to get out. Right. So,
and it's definitely one that I have run out of proxies, and I wish I had more. It's very much like God damn it, I need to get more of them. Yeah. So, totally agree on that. And one that I've been using more of because of the bans back in the fall is Mana Vault.
Okay.
And so it's
Yeah,
just
I've
kind of
been to
like
it.
giving more expensive decks just a little bit more of a kick, which like just trying to use it like how I did with Jeweled Lotus or Dockside Extortionist is just like allowing myself to have a more expensive deck, and it's not like trying not to super break it, but also don't want it just to be a ritual.
Yeah.
And so it's like I kind of run that or Grim Monolith.
I haven't
like,
used Grim.
interchangeably. Like
I haven't
just-
used Grim much at all. I don't think I even have it in a deck. I want to, because that one is Grim. What is its downfall? You have to tap
You got to pay 4 to untap
4,
it. It's
yeah.
the same thing. It just doesn't deal you damage.
Okay,
But it's
yeah.
2 to come out instead of 1.
one. Okay.
So, I mean, it just depends. I don't have a lot of proxies of it because I haven't updated them since. But, when those cards were unbanned, I was not using those.
Yeah.
I was not using Mana Vault or Grim Monolith. And now I am. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of like a weird transition because I don't want to use them. But just some decks I feel like need that little bit of push or else I'm not going to get there.
I gotcha.
So
That's
that's where I'm at right now.
the last of my list, which I'm just going to say this because we already talked about it, but Smothering Tithe is one that still will make it index. I don't completely, it is one that I push away from now. If I don't have to use it, I try not to, but I will put it index. But 2 newer ones.
Hold on. I'll say I admit that I am a sucker for Smothering Tithe right now still.
I mean,
It
it's not that you can get crazy games where somebody goes crazy with the treasures and it's game over,
Right.
but it isn't like a Ristic Study where you're just getting such big card advantage. You can get stuck with having 20 treasures and you can't do anything with them. Sometimes you just
Right.
don't have a hand anymore, or it just doesn't work out. So I can see that.
I mean, talking with Alex on the way back down from Guys Weekend, he said that was his most annoying card. So that's going to be my fault, and I'll try and be more conscious of it moving forward. But it is like, it feels impossible to pay for.
Yeah.
Like that 2, it's a crazy thought, but the 2 to stop a treasure is just unreasonable.
I think it still would have been fine if they did 1. Like if you would have just had 1, it still would have, like, at least you would have people 50-50 time, like, I'll pay. But even still, you're getting a treasure. It's very different than drawing a card. So I still think people would
it
not
should
pay.
be switched. Drawing
Yeah.
a card should be 2.
Yes,
like-
that is for a 3
Well,
drop.
no, I'd still want to pay the 1. Never mind. 1, 1, 1, 1. That's
Yeah.
that's what we're doing here.
Yeah.
So
okay.
yeah, that's where I'm at there. I admit my faults when I can.
So the 2 I wanted to talk about that are the newer ones is one that we talked about with the proxy is Enduring Vitality. So I've been using that a lot. If you're playing creature decks, it's a great, it's a Cryptolith Right type of thing, except it's a lot harder to kill because you kill the creature and then it turns into an enchantment. Fun stuff there. But then the other one is Overlord of the Hauntwoods, which I have been trying to use a lot more because when you pay the 3, which is a good number for, ramping, it makes a land that's any color. And then every time that it attacks, I mean, it has to turn into a creature first. But once it turns into a creature, then you attack with it, you get that land. So it's one that I have been trying to fit in a lot more decks.
Has it been tough to fit into, or like, does it feel like it's an easy add?
I'll be honest, I forgot about it. like the Felthar deck, I completely forgot that one I could put in there. But also, I think because with that, I was really focused on trying to keep more land or wall type of stuff out there, and an imbalance of power and toughness, which I'm pretty sure it has an equal power and toughness in that.
Might be a 4/4 or 4/5.
Yeah, I'm gonna check. Well, Overlord of it is a 6/5, so it has an imbalance. So you're drawing 5 cards with Felthar and then discarding 6. So I was like, that one doesn't work as well. Yeah, you don't want to have less cards in your hand with that. So
Right.
so that's why that one didn't make it in there. But I love the Overlord. The black one's good too, but this one for ramp wise is really good. Like it's what you pay for your Harrows and stuff. But I know you get 2 and all that, but this gives you any land, or the land is every color or whatever. So I like that. rattle off the rest of your ramp stuff because I am out at that point. 3 more. Okay, go for it.
I have 3. I'm just crossing some stuff off the list. Crucible Worlds
Yep,
is one for me.
One
that
of your
I
babies.
have-
Yep.
Yeah,
forever.
I've been playing that one since I've gotten it. And I have
And you
not
get-
gotten sick of it.
You get stumped all the time on Stump the Smith Savant. Yep.
Also that.
It's your favorite,
It's,
but you don't know the card.
Not fair. The other one would be the Great Henge.
Oh shit! I had that in draw for mine.
You put that in draw?
yeah.
Because to me, I use it.
Right.
They're both equal, but like if you are floundering, it's always
It
going
is
to be
good.
ramp.
Yeah.
That's how I looked at it.
For me, when I get Great Henge out, it's always because of the draw part. Then it's like creature in, draw, creature in, draw, and then like the land part is like the bonus for me. It's like, oh yeah, this taps for 2 mana. This is fantastic.
Okay.
But no,
Yeah,
I agree with that.
It's really
it's
good.
one of the best cards out there. I
Crazy.
love it.
But yeah, it's one of those like $50-$60 cards
Mhm.
that you want to play more of, but you don't want to buy more of.
Right.
So it's like
Right.
I'm good with one.
Yeah.
Let's put it. And then the last one would be Urza Lord High Artificer.
Oh
for
yeah.
me.
Yep. You always mention that one, that it's like it's a good ramp for blue.
For me, it is
Mhm.
blue's best ramp card.
Yep.
Because blue generally will include some sort of artifacts, and maybe I'm just on an artifact tear right now the last 2 years, but it's one of the best ones. Dark Ritual. So Joel, it's a great card, but it's not really proxyable because
Right.
it's a $2 card.
Yeah, you could just
We've
buy
been
that.
around for 25 years. We have a
Okay.
truckload of Dark
Oh,
Rituals. We don't.
good for you.
It's a lot. All right, it's not something I'm going to proxy.
But yeah, so anything that's under 5, typically we're just buying that. But yes, it is a good card for rampant and stuff. So yeah, I totally agree there. All right, so that was it for your ramp package. Let's move into the draw package. Why don't you start us off? Go ahead. Yeah, you go ahead.
Let's just go with probably the oldest peak, but Ristic Study. This is kind of one like the same thought that you were talking about with Smothering Tithe. Like I started playing Ristic Study when we started playing.
You played it before
Commander?
it was cool to play.
Yeah, I played it when it was cool to play.
No,
And
before
then
it was
I played it
cool.
for a while, and like it literally wins you games. And then eventually you're just kind of going like, I'm trying not to do this so often. It's one of those cards that are so good that it does become part of what your deck is doing almost. And so, and just people get sick of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're always bugging them. And so this is one of them that I try and back off on.
I just cut it from Alesha. I was just like, I don't need it. I mean, it'd be good to fill my hand up. I had it in there, and I'll go over that when I get to that deck tech later in a different video. When it was a Spell Slinger deck, I was like, I need as much as I can. So I need Ristic Study in here so I can keep filling my hand up. Once I changed it to a different, Anthem effect, then I didn't need it anymore. So it dropped out of there. But yeah, I agree. It's the same thing.
I think here would be my suggestion. The easiest way to cut a Ristic Study is if your commander mentions the word, has the word draw in it.
That's a good point.
Don't put Ristic Study in your deck. You don't need it.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a good point.
That if you're kind of playing our style, which we're still pretty high power. All right. Just you want different gameplay and stuff like that. So Ristic Study is on that list. Where are you at?
I'm going to knock off some that we've talked about. So just to get them out of the way, we talked about Trouble in Pairs. We've talked about Sensei's Top. We've talked about Great Henge already just a second ago. So the next one I guess I'll say is the One Ring. The One Ring fits in a lot of my decks. It doesn't go in every deck. It feels kind of, people don't like the One Ring a lot.
I think
our group is
our
fine.
crew is okay with it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that if we were in other groups would not like it as much.
RoboCop, the Tabernacle at Pendrevale is not an appropriate card to even play. All right,
you're such a degen. You're a degen right there.
No, but if you have it, for sure, proxy it.
Yeah, don't put that in there. So yeah, the One Ring, I like it. It is a drop, but it feels the forgetting part of that card is you're protected for that whole turn. So I like that part of it. But yeah, the One Ring it's a great card to have, and it's $100 plus card at this point. So
yeah, I think for us within our group, it's a fun card at this point still, but it's something that we will likely have to back off of eventually.
Yeah, I think so too.
So that's how I look at it.
But again, I'm not shoving it in every single deck. Like
Right.
it has the same feel as Ristic. It's like, but that thing is it's artifact. So it's like the nice thing is
Right.
if you're in a color or something isn't working, you don't have enough draw, boom, you have an option. One Ring is always the option, but that's also the problem is it's always the option. It can go in every single deck, and you can make an argument that it should go in every deck. You know, be like, well,
Yeah.
I need a little bit more draw. Let's just shove this in there. So yeah.
And I agree. That's the thing. Is always like I don't have it in every deck, but I definitely have it in like 6 or 7 decks, and that's more than most proxies at this point.
Right.
And so like it's something that I'm going to have to watch out for and be careful of.
Yeah.
So that's just why I'm saying like I'll probably back off of it and have it in like that 3 to 4 deck range once it does enough damage. So, but it's a very good card.
All right, what do you got next?
I mean, obviously Esper Sentinel.
Yep, I had that on there.
I think that's one that nobody really gets mad at.
No,
I think it's just a goddamn perfect card.
Yep, it's balanced. It works out.
It's one that I don't feel bad in putting every white deck.
Yep. No, I agree. Because it's only the first one. It's not a continuous thing. So if you're, continually casting stuff and all that, it's only the first one. And yep.
Yeah.
One that we like that I still I don't understand why this isn't bigger than it is, but I tend to put this in as Teferi, Master of Time. That is a great draw card, protection card, extra turn stuff. But the thing is like they have to kill it like that. If the table doesn't work against that card, you're gonna win the game. But at the same point, the plus of it is you drawing cards. Yes, draw discard, but it's you drawing cards for the plus ability. And so it's just, I consider that a draw for me. And so like for blue, it's not an every blue deck, but I love putting it in a deck because especially when you try to take, I've said this before, is you take, like if you have your commander out, you can take the eye off of your commander by playing Teferi Master of Time because now the focus is on that. Everybody has to kill that. Otherwise the game is going to be over. And I'm I'm not surprised, but I am surprised they made so many different printings when that came out that it kept that down. If they only did the normal 3 different print styles of it, that sucker would be a $20, $30 card. But because of what they did, it's easily accessible. You can get this card for what, $10 maybe? $8-10?
Yeah, it's set around 8-10 for a long time. So and the funny thing is I would give that card or that proxy a medal for the most proxies I have that I don't use.
Yeah, because you're like, I want to put it in this deck, but
I have like
out.
8 of them just sitting in my box and just going like, and it's always in a blue pile.
Right.
And then I'm like,
I got it. It doesn't
I don't
fit
know
with
why
our theme. That's what happens with ours.
Feels like it doesn't work, but it easily could be a 5 CMC card.
Yeah.
And 3 would be bonkers. It'd be crazy. You couldn't do that.
I got to toot my own horn with that one. Is that proxy, I did a ripple effect across the entire text box because of how that whole thing is. And that's one of my favorite proxies I've made. But yeah, I see that though, because it's like, it fits in the first pile of like, hey, we're building this deck and it has blue in it. Boom, that needs to be there. But then when we go through and we build the decks, it's like, well, this isn't fitting with the theme. It's a draw, protection, and extra turns. It's like, what theme does that really fit in? And if you're lacking draw, then yeah, it would fit in there. But a lot of times that's how our decks are built, is a lot of draw in them. So
right.
All right. I only have 2 more to name off.
I have 3.
Okay, go for it. 1.
I don't think you're gonna say this one, so I'll say this. Yawgmoth, Grand Physician.
Nope, I didn't put that in. Yep.
Yeah, that's a $10 card, but it is a free sack outlet. And whenever you sacrifice a creature, you're gonna be drawing cards. You're giving their creatures -1/-1. So it's like it fits in the free sack outlet spot. It's a great draw. And then it's also like removal along with like proliferation. It just fits in a lot of my decks that I've been building over the last like 2 or 3 years. And so it's one that I proxy, and I try and, again, it's one that could be brutal, but I don't think I make it. Like, I'm not making a million tokens.
Right.
You know, I can't wipe a board with it. You know, you're paying the life to sacrifice, so like it works in my losing life deck with Rowan. So it's fitting a lot of niches within the card. So it's something that I've been using a ton of.
I dig it. I'm probably going to take one of yours here, but it's because it's from you, meaning that you were the first one I saw play this, and I was on the other boat. And then Sylvan Library, is that on your list? Do you not?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
But
Did you not put it there?
no, I put top, since it's so short, I put Sylvan Library right next to it, and I marked off top.
Yeah,
thinking that I marked off Sylvan Library. So yes, thank you for getting that.
Sylvan Library. For the longest time, I was a Miri's Guile, because then it just was resetting your top. You look at the top, and I was like, I don't want to lose life. I was just resetting, pick my top of what I want. And Sylvan Library is just a great card, unless you get unlucky like me, that one game where I killed myself by doing it because I couldn't hit a land. But for the most part, you're able to go through it, and with fetch lands and stuff, you can reset the top and all that stuff. If you're not getting the right things, it's just a really good card for 2-drop. Like, at the very least, you're looking at top 3 cards. You're getting one of those in your hand, and then if you want to kind of filter through and get to more cards, you take 4 life. I mean, it's Commander. You can,
on it could be 8 life. But if you're in that rough shape, you want to lose the game quicker, so you can go somewhere else anyway. So it's a great card of just self-sacrifice.
I want pizza.
Or you're going to get your answers. So I love it. I guess I have 3 still. You know what? Skull Clamp.
Oh, yeah,
that's very much in the Lightning Greaves area of it's great value. It's great draw. You want it in a lot of decks, like token decks. I just kind of fit it into. But also, they reprinted enough that I don't want to hold on to a lot of them.
Yeah.
So having a proxy of that is a good way to get your value out of your extras.
Yeah. And then we have a sweet proxy of that one with a dude with a leather mask, and it's very sex dungeon-y.
I don't like that. I don't like that GIMP mask. I don't remember who told you to do it. But
I think maybe it might have been Ibukaki. I don't know.
Could have been. Yeah, it's another one I have. You have one more? Right?
I have one more, but you're not gonna get this one. But it's Enduring Curiosity, and that's the blue Enduring. Whenever your creatures deal combat damage, you draw a card. So I those are the only 2 Endurings that I like. The green one's not a lot more expensive. They're both around $5. I think those are gonna go up more. I haven't made that one as a proxy yet. But we have that in green. We have green where your creature deals damage, you draw cards. We have it in blue too, with a couple enchantments that do a very similar thing. I just think this one's good, so this is why I put it. That's the only reason why I have that on there. And that's it for my list for the draw stuff.
Wheel of Fortune.
Oh, that's a good.
It's
one.
like a $200-300 card.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I mean,
I play it in every red
the term
deck.
wheeling is after this card. Like,
I have it in every red deck. How did I miss that one? That's a good one. Yep.
And you have made a proxy of it, and that allowed, like, I had one bad proxy back when we started.
Yeah.
Like, it's it's like the actual picture, and then it fits within the frame, because our proxies go all the way out
all the way to the border
at this
yeah,
point.
no
but this
border.
is one where you see like the little bit of white that I didn't cut off, and like it's a bad proxy. But it's when it's a $300 card, you don't want to be using the original in your deck. So that's what I was going with.
That's a good one. Yep, I like that choice there.
There's that. I think Jessica's Will should be mentioned as well. Between this or Ramp, whatever you're kind of looking at it. That's something. Again,
I missed that one too, man. Because I've been putting that in a lot, especially since we lost Dockside. Like that one has been making the round. That's actually one of the replacement cards strictly for my red decks. I was like, oh, Dockside gone. Let's put in Jessica in there.
Yeah, and the funny thing is before Dockside was banned, people wanted Jessica's Will to go away And I guarantee you it's gotten worse.
Right. It's-
Like that
for me,
that's frustrating.
And what was your last one there?
I think that's it.
Mm.
I'm it looks like I marked everything off. So that's where I'm at right there.
All right, we got three more things, three more topics really quick, and then we got to hit up the tournament. So this one's gonna be a shorter one, but it's removal. Lowry, why don't you tell us about your removal? Because there's only
I mean it's Cyclonic Rift.
yeah. I mean, we don't
I
even
have
use
this
it that
in 2
much.
decks at this point. It's one of those that I had it in a lot for a while, and then
Yeah.
now I know everybody hates it, and everybody hates me. So
I don't
have it in 1 or 2 decks.
I haven't put it in it. Like I haven't put it in a new deck for a year, 2 years, maybe at this point. But yeah, it is a good. It's what I used to use all the time. If I didn't have enough of a certain removal type, that's what would cover my bases there. The thing I'll say with I think the reason why our removal is low is because you need removal in Magic, and so they print the crap out of cards, and they typically stay pretty cheap. So you don't need proxies because there's enough of them out there. So I think that's part of the reason. But I'll just really quickly move. Some of these are jumping through hoops to get this. I'll say the ones that aren't, but Meat Hook Massacre is one.
That's a good one.
Solitude is one that I recently, when I built Will.
You made a proxy of that one?
Yep, I had to make the proxy and buy the card because I didn't have Solitude. That's a great removal. Torment of Hailfire, I would kind of say that. It's more of your sacrifice, you get to choose. Here's my hoops. Maze of Ith. It's not removal, but it is stopping an attacker. Sheoldred the Apocalypse, I would say, is a player removal if they're drawing a lot of cards. And then Shadow Spear is removing the protection so you can remove a creature. So those are how I kind of fit those in there. So those are the removal stuff in there. But I do use, you were high on Shadow Spear early, and I jumped on that one too. And Shadow Spear I use a lot because it's a good target for Urza's Saga to grab. Hashtag Urza's for life. And Maze I've been starting to put in a little bit more decks. I don't use Torment as much, kind of like along the lines of Cyclonic, and Meat Hook has to fit in an idea of a deck. So
and crazy thing is I don't have Shadow Spear in a single deck right now. Which is
wild.
Right. It is wild. When I was going through, I did not see it. I went through all my decks and I was just like, when you said it, I was like, holy shit. I didn't even see that today.
That's crazy.
And I still love it. I just, it's not fitting in any decks right now. So, I like that you're using, or like talking about Maze of Ith though. Like that was big in the group at the beginning.
Yeah.
And
Tad's been using the shit out of it.
I don't know if it's fallen out of favor, but just nobody's really using it anymore other than like, for some reason, Trombley always does it. Like he just like, Maze.
Well, the other thing is
works.
we just got a proxy of it because I made it 2 months ago for that. So now I'm going to probably start putting in more.
Okay.
All right. This one could be really big, but I cut it down to my main ones. But our next one is Protection. Okay. So why don't you start us with that one since I just ran through a bunch of cards there. But the removal.
Okay, so this is going to be my hope that you make this proxy. I don't even have this proxy, but
Get a pen,
Dawn's Truce. Write that down.
Is that the
White
owl?
Colorless?
The owl
What's
one?
that?
The
Yeah, it's
owl?
the owl
Yeah,
one?
no, it has. I have to make it this month because it's in my it's in my Alesha deck. So
Yeah, gift a card, your stuff gets
Yeah,
indestructible,
yeah,
already has hexproof no matter what. Yeah.
This we just got to run through these because we got Teferi's Protection, we got Heroic Intervention, Flawless Maneuver, Deflecting Swat you already talked about earlier. Yep. Clever Concealment, I've been using that a lot, especially since we have the Darkwing Duck. Mithril Coat is also one I use a lot. And then my last one on this, but it's also my game winner, is Chroma's Will. I use that a lot because it is kind of a protection. I think I mentioned the other week that it's more of like a 60-40. 60% of the time I'm using it for taking out a player, but 40% of the time I'm using it for protection. So,
right. It's a really good one. I do see it like you use it a lot, so I try and avoid it.
Right.
It's one of those like I think if we use it too much within our group, it'll get really annoying.
It'll be a
So
crater.
I just let you roll with it.
Right.
But it's super good.
Yeah. What else do you have to add to the list there?
That you nailed it right there. The only other one that's on my list, and I would almost take it off at this, like Lightning Greaves, as we've already talked about, and then Grand Cassendo.
Yes, that is good. I like that one too.
And so, like, because I love your art with the stormtroopers on it.
Yeah, I was just looking at that one today too. Yeah, I love that one.
But instant speed,
tapping
tokens,
or you can pop your army up. But yeah, getting your make tokens or give everything indestructible. I love that.
All right, Joel's mentioning Robe of Stars. Do you even own that card?
I don't even know what that one is.
It's an equipment that you can equip, and then you can pay like 2 to phase out probably your commander. I'm gonna admit I have it. I've had it since it came out. I have not used it. I'm sure it's good. And I'm sure it's very proxyable. I would proxy it if I was playing it.
Oh, wow. It's a $14 card. I do have this one too.
How much is it now?
14. Because it only has the one printing of let me just
the D&D commander.
D&D. Yeah.
So it's one of those that I totally agree. It's just not something that we use.
Yeah.
So
yeah. A quick creature +3 phases out. Yeah. I would say I would have added, because I did make a proxy of this because I do use it a lot, but it's the March of the Swirly Mist. But you can get March of the Swirly Mist because they keep reprinting it for pretty cheap.
Yeah.
So that's why I didn't add that one in here.
That's a cheap though. Yeah.
Okay. The last thing is our randomness. Should we hit up the random stuff? What do you got? What do you got? A random? I don't really have a lot. So we already talked about Giggling Skitter Spike. We both like that one.
It was on my list. Yep.
Okay. And then what do you got in here?
Here's Meta Conqueror.
Good. I'm glad you added that. I was debating adding that one in there. I need to.
Card.
I need to put that in more decks. I only have it in the one at this point.
3.
Nice.
It's good. It's good.
And
And then Parallel Lives and Anointed Procession. Tokens are becoming so used that these are just good cards.
Yep.
Sakashima Spark Double.
Okay, so I had Sakashima's, both of them, Spark Double, and then I had Roaming Throne. Roaming Throne goes in so many of my decks at this point. So those were the ones, and Gaia's Cradle, but we already talked about Gaia's Cradle. So those were those were my random stuff. So whatever else you have left over
is there. Seedborn Muse.
It's a good one. Good one.
Is there. And then the only other one would be Palantir of Orthanc.
Oh shit, I missed that. That was in my draw. Sorry. I had
was it in your
Palantir.
draw?
I forgot to say Palantir. I skipped through to come back to it. But yeah, Palantir should have been in there.
I wasn't sure where to put it because it's damage, it's scrying,
Right.
it could be draw.
Right. Yeah, I had it there.
But it's one of those really cool cards that could go
And
in
the
a
thing
bunch
is,
of decks.
I want to put it in so many decks, and then I end up. It's the same thing that you were talking about earlier with other cards. Is like I end up cutting it, and it's like,
Yeah.
I guess where I want Palantir to fit in is higher CMC decks, and I was almost thinking about putting in my new Alesha deck or whatever but everything's really low costing CMC, so I'm like, this might hurt me more than help me. But I agree. I think this one should be used a lot more.
I mean, if you're doing like self-mill, it could be a really good card. The 2 decks I wanted to put it in, I had it in my Genku deck that's like bounce, burn, and blink kind of deck. So it like did that damage potentially. It could be in my Niv Mizzet deck that does the burning and drawing cards. And so it's like they'll just have me draw because they're not going to take any damage because I'll just draw off of that anyway. So maybe it's not a good card in there. See, that's why I want to try these things. But yeah, I think it's a really cool card for sure.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Sweet.
That's where we're at. That's a long, comprehensive list, and there's a lot more out there. But we're just trying to give ideas of cards that we're working with right now.
These are ones that we typically use in all our deck, like a lot of our decks. So this is well, and we'd like to hear what some of your guys' proxies that you end up using, or maybe not proxies, cards that you put in a lot of decks that maybe you'd think about proxying. So if you can put that in the comments, just let us know, because I'd like to see what your guys' options are on that, because I might make a proxy of it if we got a lot of comments on it and be like, oh yeah, I do put that in a lot of decks. I don't have a proxy I've made of that yet. So yeah. All right. We got to wrap this up, but we got to get our tournament here. Yep. Let's get that tournament going here. All right. So if you guys don't know, we did the theme song tournament, best TV theme song. So we have the Sweet 16. We're getting down to the Elite 8. Our first, let's see, which way did I go with this? Yes, it's that way. First matchup is Scooby-Doo versus Fresh Prince. Who moved on, Lowry? Who moved on?
Fresh Prince won that one.
Yes, it did.
70s, 80s.
65% of the vote. And I think one of these ones, remember I said there was a tie? I knew where our votes were. We have one more vote, so somebody might have gone through and broke our tie. We'll see here when we get there, because it was going to be 50-50.
By Tad with his 5 accounts.
Yeah. All right, then we had
So mad at Muppets.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles against DuckTales.
I mean, TMNT.
This is the closest one, besides the complete tie.
Okay.
53% of the votes. Oh, now it's 54. Yep, somebody went through and did votes. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles moves on. So Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. God, it's the Malort. TMNT is going against Fresh Prince for this round. So that's going to be a good battle. What do you have in that round? That one?
TMNT?
Yeah, it's going to be.
But yeah, it's going to be pretty darn close, I'd say.
Next, we had SpongeBob going against South Park. My SpongeBob, your South Park.
You know, again, that's one I think we said that it just depends on who's watching. I'm going to say South Park.
You're right, dude. South Park, 57% of the votes beats SpongeBob.
All right, I got 2 moving on at least.
Yeah,
Huh?
you do. Then we had my number 1 overall pick, which is the number 2 overall pick. But my pick was Game of Thrones against Chippendale Rescue Rangers.
Game of Thrones should win this one. Unfortunately.
It didn't.
What?
Yeah, there's a big
What?
upset right there.
Chippendale being a banger.
Chippendale, it made it 59% of the votes. So that one moves on. You actually have South Park going against Chippendale. So you have a final 4 no matter what. But who do you think takes it down, Chippendale or South Park? For me, it's Chippendale because they took down Game of Thrones.
It's Chippendale.
I thought Game of Thrones was going to make it all the way, man. I honestly...
Chippendale. God, banger.
All right. Then the next one, this was our 50-50. We'll see what happens here. I don't know. It's Muppet Show against it's Muppet Show against Friends. Muppet Show has had a 50-50 every week going into the last day. So
that's crazy.
So
I think I would have voted against Muppets
every single time.
Yeah,
I think so.
Or just seen it losing. Fine. Let's just say Muppets wins this one.
I have no idea. Let's see. No, it's still 50-50. So whoever started voting on the other ones didn't keep going through. So what we did with the Muppet Show in the first round is the higher seed moves on. So number 12, Friends, will move on with. That's kind of funny.
Yes.
So Friends moves on.
That's crazy.
Yeah, 50%. I said to write it down on my bracket. All right. Then we had Simpsons versus Family Guy.
Simpsons? It's a more iconic show.
Yep, you're right. 63% of the votes for The Simpsons. It moves on. It goes against Friends. I think Friends loses to The Simpsons. This is where I'm feeling. All right, then we have Animaniacs. You're one of your higher picks there. Against Pokemon.
I mean, Animaniacs is a better song.
You said that last week.
It's just hands down one of the best songs, but the show was probably a little too wacky for a lot of people, and Pokemon's huge. It's crazy.
This one was close. So I'll tell you, this one's close.
I think Animaniacs is the better song, and I hope that it won.
It didn't. 55%. Pokemon takes it down, so Pokemon moves on. And then our last matchup was X-Men versus Ghostbusters.
I think this might be the best shot at upsetting X-Men, but I think X-Men still wins.
It did 63% of the votes. I think that was our
That was a
biggest.
pretty big one.
Oh no, Fresh Prince was the biggest winner of the week, but this was second.
Okay.
But we do have an X-Men versus Pokemon. That's gonna be. It depends on the audience and the voting.
Right.
Like that, if it's
Right.
our age, X-Men's moving on. If
X-Men.
it's anybody younger, like 5 years younger than us and younger, Pokemon's gonna move on. So this one should be interesting. So
I think X-Men takes it though.
I'm
I
sad.
mean, we have a very specific range of like 43 to 38 age range, males specifically. So I think X-Men wins this one.
Yeah, I think you're right. But the voting will begin tomorrow, Tuesdays. If you're listening to this later on Wednesday, jump on YouTube and vote. We need more votes because now we're down to the Elite 8. Let's get all these votes in as you can. Yeah, so that should be it. I think we're good. Yeah, we're good. Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. All right, gang.
All right.
That should do it for this week. We will catch you guys next week.
Thanks for listening.
See ya.
Bye.
See ya.
I love
My lord.
boobs. I'm talking
Got real
tatas.
deep there.
I
Feel like,
love
my lord.
boobs. I'm bonkers for honkers.
Dune? That
I
was very-
love
like very
boobs.
Dune-y.
Thanks for the memories.
Very
I
Dune-y.
love
Didn't do that.
boobs.
That was,
That was very Dooney there.
that was very Dooney.
All right. Oh, I didn't hit the button. There we go.
Hey, Meat Force, could you kindly tap the like and subscribe?